Thank you for coming to my speech. Today we were talking about technical training and how to make it more effective and more interesting for all the people that are going through it. But firstly, I will going to present to you Quidis, that is our company, and what we do. So we have been working in the development market for 30 years, especially in technical training. So we started from the aerospace and defense market, and then we moved to different markets. That's why we passed through our stand before. You have seen a lot of examples with aircrafts. We also have a proprietary authoring tool that is used to create all the content that we deliver to our client. And we also have an LMS, but it's not the object of this speech, so don't mind about it. I will start with the question that is related, of course, to the content of my speech. And it's, who among you has ever completed a technical course by reading a PDF or just watching a video without having to do any action? Okay, I see a lot of it. And the second question is, do you have something that you have studied in those courses still with you at the moment? So do you remember any of it? Okay, you don't. Okay, very good. So let's be honest, we have a problem. So the main problem in technical training is that we are not able to learn from static content. So when we just watch a video or read a PDF file without any interaction with it, we don't bring anything with us. And that's a big problem, of course, because our attention span curve goes down and we probably fall asleep in the middle of the lesson. So the problem here is not the content of the training, because of course, if we are talking about technical training, the content is all the technical specification of the system or the technical description. We cannot change it. What we can change is the way we deliver it to the final user, so to the person that has to learn something. The same content can be delivered in very different ways. That is not only a PDF file or a static video, of course. Some data about how we learn and how we don't learn, I would say. So if we don't have any application in our training, we forgot it 90% of it by 1 week. From traditional lectures, we retain 10-20% top. We forgot most of it in the first day, I would say. And also, the last data, that is the one that we are interested in the most, is that retention goes up with practice. So when I have training with some kind of interaction and practice in it, I can learn better and I can learn more. So we have a challenge in front of us. That is the starting point we are starting from is that we have a lot of static content for technical training in particular, with very low engagement because the students has to do nothing, just watch or read without having any interaction with the content. The consequences of this is that at the end of the day, they are not able to apply the knowledge in real life situation. So the point of technical training is not learn theory, but learning how to do things. They're not able to do it at the end of the training. The other problem is that we think that one style of training, that is the one that has been traditionally used in time, is good for everyone, which is not, of course. And as we already said, with the information and the percentages we have seen before, there is a very low retention over time of the information. On the other side, we have what we would like to have. So what actually works for better retention? We have to move from the content, a static content with no interaction, no engagement, no motivation, to experience, to make people learn through doing, not just reading or watching a video. Of course, we can make our content really engaging and interactive in different ways. Interaction, of course, is the key to this to all this new approach. We have to put the students in a scenario-based situation. I mean, what they will find in real life when they go through the same procedure or the same actions they are trying and seeing in the learning content. Of course, we can put a little bit of gamification into it to make it more engaging. It doesn't have to be a proper game. So we don't have to create some kind of actual game, but we can just put some points, some levels, some elements that can help the students to feel engaged in the content and going through it, especially if it's very long. And of course, the last one is simulations. So instead of just telling you what to do, I put the student into a situation where they can actually perform the procedure. They can do what they're required to memorize. So now let's go to the process. So we have to create a technical learning course. Where do we start from? The first thing we have most of the time is a very long manual that can be an aircraft manual. As I said, we have lots of experience in this, but it can be any kind of manual, a software manual, a washing machine manual, any kind of system that the students has to learn about, how to use it, how to maintain it. It depends on the situation, but the starting point is always a very long PDF file. So now I will ask, for example, this is an actual manual of an aircraft. How many pages do you think it has? Roughly, like, we say 100. We say like 500. Yeah. We say 1,000. That's the number of pages in this actual aircraft manual. And it's the one that we have used for some of the examples that we have, and then I will show you in a while. So that's the starting point. We have 1,000 pages of PDF file full of information, packed with the procedures and names and things that the students has to memorize. Of course, reading it, you will not memorize any of it, or at least most of it. So we have to find another way. How we do that? As I said, we start from the content. It's the manual. We cannot change it. I mean, that's the procedure. But we change the way we deliver it. So we start from the PDF, we work on it, and we work on it with the client. So with the expert in the matter that we learn to make the content about. And we create a storyboard. The storyboard is the first design of our lesson. It's the description of the lesson, and it will tell us what's going to happen in the lesson before actually developing it. Why it's useful is to give you an idea of what's going to happen, and also to give you the chance to read proof it. I mean, you have to check if everything is correct, if the quality of the final lesson will be okay with your standards. We work with very high demanding market. We also work in defense. So, I mean, the content should be perfect. The storyboard is the way, like the middle step, to ensure that the content is perfect, even when we have transformed it. I mean, we took the manual, we transformed it into a simulation. We have to be sure that the content is still perfect. Then, when the storyboard is approved and we agree that is the perfect version of the lesson that we are going to create, we do the actual development or from the static content. So what you are seeing here is an actual simulation that is part of the big manual that we have seen before. The idea behind it is that there is a very small piece of information contained in this video. That is, if you have error 24, you have to exchange the battery. It's a very small piece of information. It's only one line of content, and the students will probably never remember it if put inside that 1,037 pages long document. So what we do is that we transform that simple sentence into a simulation. In this case, the user is required to analyze the problem, go through the manual, to find the solution and then apply the solution. So here, instead of just saying to the student, you have to change the battery, I'm making complete the procedure of battery exchange. It's a very small example, so you just have to think about it as a way to, instead of just telling you how to do it, I make you do it, so you actually have to unplug the cables, move the battery, put the new one in. And the idea behind it is that at the end of the day, you remember it better because you've already done it, even if just on the screen. Because of course, this is a simulation, this is all digital score format. So it's nothing that requires very big hardware, is not very expensive to play. It can be played everywhere you have a laptop and an internet connection. So it's very simple, but it allows the students to memorize better the procedure, especially when you have lots of different procedures that you have to memorize. And also the structure of this kind of content is made of a small piece of content. So at the end, if you have done all the course and you want to go back and see, okay, I don't remember if I have the error 24, what I have to do, you can go back to this specific simulation and rewatch it, replay it, redo the exercise just to remind yourself all the steps that are taken. It can be done in a guided way. So I can give you all the things to do and just guide it through it while you're doing it. Or you can also do to assess the student knowledge at the end of the courseware to see if they've understood something after all the training. So I can put it in a blank situation and let you go through it and see if you manage to complete all the steps. Because of course, being a SCORM format file, you have all the tracking, all the actions that the students has done. So at the end, you collect a lot of information that are also useful to you to understand what's the pinpoint of this specific procedure, or having a number of procedures, what's the hardest one to understand, to memorize. So when you actually decide to organize a face-to-face training or an on-site training, you don't go through all the training, but you only focus on that piece points that you have collected and understood through the on-demand training. I guess you've already understood how different it is compared to reading a PDF or watching a video. But I will show you a little bit of results. Of course, you have higher attention. You have a safe space to practice, because a big problem with this kind of systems is that people cannot use the simulators, I mean the physical simulators or the physical system, enough to practice as long as they need to memorize all the procedures and be sure that they know them. So the idea is that you can do it online in a safe space, and then you can move to the actual system, but you need less time because you've already memorized all the steps, and it's something that you already acquired before going to the simulator. Of course, you learn faster, as we said, because doing is a way to do it. At the end of the day, you make fewer errors because you already made them during the simulation as many times as you needed to. Of course, you perform better because you will learn all the things to do. So the retention goes up, the errors go down, and also the performance goes up. So what's the process? You now are doing training in your companies, I guess, and you may wonder, okay, I want that result. How we get there? The first thing to do is to identify the critical skills that your people need to know and need to acquire. So you don't have to think about redo all your training at the beginning. You can start from a pilot project, something small that everyone needs to know by heart, and it's very important that it's acquired by everyone. And you maybe now are repeating it over time to the same people, hoping that they will learn and understand at the end. So identify the skills, you can define the objectives, what they want them to learn, what they want they to be able to do at the end of the training. Then we look at your materials. You already have lots of materials. So you have pictures, you have videos, you have the PowerPoint slides, PDF manuals. You have lots of things that you are using now in your training. And we can start from that instead of just rethinking everything from the beginning. We design the experience. So once we have the goals in mind, the materials set, we can design the experience, deciding what kind of simulation to build and what can be useful to the user in order to achieve the goal that we have set at the beginning. Then we develop the content. We can do it ourselves. I mean, we have an internal team that can develop the content for you. You can do it yourself using our platform, or we can do it together. Since the platform that we're using is a collaborative platform, so we can work in a team with your people and our people, being able to build the perfect lesson for you. And at the end, once you have the final content, as I said, it's a SCORM format file. So very standard SCORM, you can put it into your LMS, whatever LMS you're using. You can measure the impact because, as I said, everything is measured and tracked, and you collect a lot of data from all the interaction that people do while playing the content. So I don't want to talk anymore because my voice is gone, but I have some questions for you. The first thing is, do you think this can work in your organization? I mean, do you have this kind of problem? And do you think that this can be a solution for you? Great. I see your nodding face, so it's a good. The second question is a harder one. So, what would stop you? What has stopped you until now from changing the way you're doing training? Is that more about economics? Is more about changing mindset of people or changing mindset of the management that has to choose how to put the money? So, because of course, something that everyone has asked us going to our stand today is how expensive is it? Because it looks very expensive. The point is that when you think about it, at the end of the day, you can spend money to create something like this, but you can share it for a long time with many people around the world if it's needed, because it can also be multi-language or a different version. So you make the investment at the beginning. You create an asset that becomes your company asset, and then you share it with the world. So yes, it can be more expensive than doing a face-to-face lesson to one person, but it's like an unlimited lesson for everyone in the long run. And also, it can be, of course, maintained in the future. So it's not only one-time lesson. You can change it, update it, do a different version, change the modules that you are using for a different target. So it's a real long-term investment. And the last question is, what are you ready to do for your training, your organization? So what's the next step that you're willing to take? Would you try to change how things have been done until now or not? This is on your side. Mm. So I will thank you for listening to me. And if you want to keep in touch or have more information about what we do, how we do it, you can scan the QR code if you want. You have all our contacts and information here. Or as you said, we are at the stand right behind you. You can pass by, have a chat. We are always here also tomorrow. If you are here in the event, we can have a chat, show you more examples, talk about your specific situation, because of course, each company is different and we can move forward together. Thank you very much.